Environmental terrorism. Environmental terrorism. There's two types of environmental terrorism. Resource as tool terrorism. Environmental resources such as crops, livestock, or water supplies are used to carry a destructive agent to a human population. For example, terrorists wishing to inflict damage on a town might poison the water supply in its reservoir. And the second is resource as target terrorism. The resources themselves are targeted. For example, if terrorists blew up the dam and flood the town. Water terrorism. Water is important because there is no substitute. And inflict the greatest damage, that is unusable water, flood, for example. It's easily accessible, that is tourists. It's easy to deploy. Explosives, poison, disease agents. A historical example of water terrorism occurred in July 2000. Workers at Celotex chemical plant in northern France purposely dumped 800 gallons of sulfuric acid into the Meuse River when workers were denied benefits. It caused a huge environmental disaster that basically sterilized the river by killing all living organisms in the acid's path. Mineral and petroleum terrorism. There's not many substitutes for non-renewable resources. They're attractive targets during wartime. They're important to health and national economy. Little protection for refineries and pipelines. They're vulnerable to fire. Their small, cheap explosive can get the job done. Cause shortage of fuel and natural gas is the outcome. Here are two examples of petroleum terrorism. In 1998, the National Liberation Army in Colombia planted a bomb that exploded on the Ocensa pipeline, killing approximately 71 persons and injuring at least 100 others. The pipeline is jointly owned by the Colombia State Oil Company, Ecopetrol, in a consortium including the U.S., French, British, and Canadian companies. Destruction of Kuwait oil fields at the end of the Gulf War in 1991 is an example of crippling disruption. 6 million barrels of oil per day were burned. Kuwait suffered health and ecological problems for years. Power plant terrorism. Knocking off power lines and transmission towers not inflict much damage because people used to power outage. It's mostly nuclear power plants at risk. They account for 20% of electric power. Nuclear power plants cannot withstand direct hit from a jumbo jet. This causes various safety systems to fail, loss of coolant, and ultimately to meltdown of nuclear fuel. The explosion of Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Ukraine in 1986 was the worst nuclear reactor accident ever recorded. It led to deaths of 30 employees and firemen within a few days due to acute radiation poisoning. Evacuation of 100 large parts of Belarus and Ukraine were contaminated, and approximately 5 million people live in an area where at risk. Most notable effect, the excess of thyroid cancer among exposed children. Transportation systems and terrorism. There's opportunities for mass casualties. Low-tech devices, small arms and bombs, for example, can employ chemical and biological weapons. The Boulogne train massacre was a neo-fascist terrorist bombing of the Central Station on the morning of Saturday, 2 August 1980, which killed 85 people and wounded more than 200. At 10:25 a.m., a time bomb contained in an unattended suitcase detonated inside an air-conditioned waiting room, which, the month being August, and with air conditioning being uncommon in Italy at the time, was crammed full of people.